Hey, Hugh, listen. Yeah, it's exactly how you sound every time you call me, like the fairy from Zelda. All right?
No, I don't. My
Yes,
voice
you do.
isn't even that high.
Nah, that's exactly
I
it.
sound nothing like Navi.
Sure you don't, buddy. Anyway, hey everybody, this is episode 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, all right. Double digits. This is great. We're almost in our teenage years.
So when we get rebellious.
Yes, our voice is going to crack and we're going to hair in all funny places. This is The Enthusiast with one of your hosts, Jess Nazario. Next to me is the man of many names. Some would call him Billy, some call him Willie, others call him a nerd. Go ahead and introduce yourself, good friend.
Will Zabo. And we have a lot of crap to cover.
We do. A lot of good trailers, a lot of news.
Yeah.
Mostly a lot of good trailers, thanks to the Super Bowl. You watched the Super Bowl?
I don't watch Super Bowl.
I know you didn't watch the Super Bowl. I invited you over and you said no.
I didn't mean to say no. I just...
Did you say yes?
Alright, you're right. You win that round.
There it is.
Anyway, so the new Transformers trailer launched. We'll start with that one.
I'm going to tell you how I experienced it. The trailer came on. I had a few people over. Yeah, my friends actually showed up. And the trailer came on. We watched it, and I noticed the room got quiet because we're all intrigued on what Michael Bay was going to curse us with now. And after the trailer was done, we were all quiet. My wife was the one that finally broke the silence, and she was like, "Damn you, Michael Bay." And I was like, "The trailer looks good, doesn't it?" She's like, "Yeah, it does. You do this every time to me." And I was like, "He does. He does. Man knows how to cut a good trailer."
He does.
He does.
Definitely will give him that. So what did you take from the trailer? One thing I definitely noticed was the Dinobots are back.
Yes.
For the first time we see Grimlock. I'm really excited for that. Hopefully we can actually see him.
He was in the last movie.
He was in the last movie, but he didn't transform.
He did. He started off transformed, turned into the T-Rex. But that's neither here nor there. You couldn't really call him Grimlock in the last film because you're right. He wasn't really Grimlock. You're right.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. Hopefully we see more of the Dinobots and we actually see what they're capable of, because in the last movie, all we really got to see was Optimus Prime
Riding them.
like they're horses.
I love Optimus's new look. I think it's really cool. The aged warrior look, I thought that was pretty neat. Direction they're going with this movie, I don't know. We spoke on it real early on our first podcast, actually.
Yeah.
Taking it back 11 episodes ago. But one of the things we both mentioned was, obviously, this is going to be the introduction of Unicron. He's got to be in this film. And I'm guessing he is the creator. That's what I'm guessing. If they're going to go with anything like the original storyline, he was part of the creators. There was the two different ones. So,
how do you feel about his look? Every time they show Unicron, I kind of almost feel like they're pulling a Galactus on us.
He's got to transform. If he doesn't, then Michael Bay needs personal security for the rest of his life everywhere. Don't do that. Also, 1986 original movie. Megatron gets turned into Galvatron. I'm really thinking that's the way they're going with Optimus Prime. I think Unicron gets a hold of him and corrupts him and turns him into his soldier.
That's what it's looking like, too.
Why else you can explain him, destroying Bumblebee, or not at least messing him up pretty bad in the trailer.
So, what do you think they're doing with the Decepticons? We haven't seen any.
None. Yeah.
We haven't seen. Obviously, Megatron he was absent in the last movie as well.
We had Galvatron.
We did have Galvatron.
Or as I call him, Windows 98 screensaver.
Yeah, and we had Soundwave. Was that in the last one, or was that the?
That was 3.
3. Never mind. But no Starscream,
no.
Which I'm pretty sure is Starscream still alive? No,
yeah, he was killed off. Yeah,
yeah.
Last movie, wait, Deadlock was the villain.
Yeah,
it was one of the only enjoyable things about the last film. He was a good villain.
So I mean, like, what do you think we're getting? Are we getting any Decepticons?
Because
Starscream, the Decepticons have a pretty big role still when it comes to Unicron.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly from the animated series.
Well, the original movie, Unicron took what was after the Autobots and Decepticons had a huge battle in the beginning of the movie. There was a bunch of destroyed Decepticons, and Starscream, being the good person he was, just kind of threw him out of the ship. It was like, all right, well, you're taking up room, including Megatron, who was badly damaged. And Unicron came over, and he molded them into his own team. And he made Megatron, Galvatron, and made all the other Decepticons, really powerful, and they all became his new unit. So maybe that's the direction they're going with. Maybe this is, the 5th movie, maybe they're going to pull other characters from other movies. Maybe we'll see Soundwave or Starscream or even the Fallen.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that, though.
No, not at all.
That movie fell from grace real quick.
That movie was all about trying to get Shia LaBeouf to say he loved Megan Fox.
Yeah.
But what do you, like? I don't really see who stops Optimus in this.
Well, to me, it depends on the direction I'm going. I've heard Hot Rod's in this.
Okay.
So,
I'm a fan of Hot Rod.
yeah, and he did take over the team in the original cartoon. Jed Nelson too. He didn't bring him back because he was that dude, man. Breakfast Club. They need to bring him back. So if that's the case, I can see him taking on the role of, or trying to stop Optimus or getting together.
He's a Prime.
But what did Hot Rod turn to? Rodimus Prime. All right. He took the matrix of leadership too, man. He held it down. So either way, how do I feel about this trailer? I will talk smack on it, like I always do, and I'll see it in theaters, and then I'll hate it, and then I'll complain about it.
That's probably the same route I'm gonna go. I might not even see it in theaters. Probably will for the sake of this podcast, so that we can talk about it. But,
I've seen everyone in theaters. I enjoyed the first one.
saw the first 3 in theaters, and then after the third one, I was like, I'm done.
The second one was pretty bad. Third one was not as bad as the second, which is not saying much.
Yeah, I can agree.
But the last one, not only was it close to 3 hours, some of the dialogue in it was just, made me nauseous.
The fourth one has some pretty bad dialogue.
I was meaning the fourth one. The fourth.
If I hear Mark Wahlberg say he thinks he found the Transformer
I
again.
found Transformer, to the Boston accent. You know what character drove me crazy in the fourth movie? The Mark Wahlberg's daughter's boyfriend. He said things that no human being would ever say, and that's one of Michael Bay's biggest faults is he doesn't know how to do dialogue. Nobody says those things.
I could agree with that. So apparently, which you and me have talked about this before, this is going to be Michael Bay's last movie. Knock on wood.
Nope.
Let's hope that it is.
He said that twice. I'm not falling for it, man.
If it is, what do you think? Because obviously Transformers probably isn't going anywhere. It makes a lot of money, especially in China.
Of course.
So what do you think they're going to do next? I personally have been hoping for it. I really want them to go back to Cybertron and show the war of Cybertron. No humans. I really think the humans are what kind of keep the movies, hold them back.
Okay. I would like to go another direction. You have 2 really stale franchises right now, Transformers and G.I. Joes. Combine them, bro. Next director, pick up the mantle and combine the franchises.
That was a rumor for a while, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it happened in the comics. It happened in the show. I'd love to see it in the movie. Ratchet Dwayne Johnson on Optimus Prime's shoulder. Let's get away.
Just with a giant Gatling gun.
Yeah, absolutely. Channing Tatum, who's just alive for some reason in the G.I. Joe franchise, is running next to Bumblebee. I'd be okay with it.
That could be pretty cool, actually.
It would be. Cobra Commander and Megatron making a deal.
Megatron in his tank form, Cobra Commander just going forward.
Which is funny. The original 80s TV series, the voice of Cobra Commander did the voice of Starscream, which I always thought was hilarious. You know what I mean? They sounded exactly the same.
Yeah, I didn't even put that together. Yeah, you're right. So let's get off Transformers. Stranger Things Season 2 trailer dropped during the Super Bowl.
We, in a house with nobody around us, we all applauded after that trailer.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about Stranger Things, man?
Loved it. So originally I heard when Stranger Things ended, the director wanted to take a 2 to 3 year hiatus so the kids could age because the story he, I guess, wrote required them to grow up a little. Shocked we're getting it a year later.
I'm not so shocked. Did well, won a lot of awards. Made those kids famous overnight. They deserve it too. They were all incredible, man. All their little performances. 11, everybody. But I'm excited. I'm hoping it's not going to feel rushed. So, but you know what? I don't want it to sound like a hipster who's like, oh, we got this completely. I'm excited for it until it fails me. So
same. The first season was great. I have high expectations going into the second. It looks great.
It does. It looks like we're going to get to see the Upside Down more, which,
yes.
we're really excited for.
Looks like we saw some, for those who haven't seen the trailer, I recommend you go see it, but it looks like there was some giant creature in the sky. I don't...
I honestly am hoping that's what, the other Upside Down world is. There's just unimaginable creatures in there.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'd love to see it.
Now, my only worry is that when they do this, if there is a season 3, probably will be. What if they show these huge creatures off? Where do you really go from there?
All out war. They invade Earth. It turns to like that 360 game Earth defense, where like this team of people come out and we can fight them. And I'm all right with it. That's fine. I mean, who knows? Obviously, I always mention the creator of Lost said he knew where he wanted the show to start and end. And he just kind of wrote in between where to get there. As long as I feel like he had a beginning of the show and he has an end of the show, he knows where he wants it to end, I'll enjoy the journey while we're on the way there. So
Okay, I can agree with that. Let's get into some Marvel stuff. Looks like the new Logan trailer dropped.
it did. Another one during the Super Bowl. Another great trailer with another good song.
I was going to say that myself. You just stole that from me.
Well, we are best friends. It does happen.
The Logan trailers have consistently had great toning songs to go with these trailers.
The trailers, all the trailers are really well done, real well edited. Hugh Jackman, I just so much appreciate him. Watching him from 1999 with the first X-Men movie to what he is now. He's grown as an actor. You know what I mean? The fact that he's pulled feels out of us with this Wolverine character. At the end of the day, this is a fictional comic book character.
I agree.
That we've actually had some emotional moments with in the movies, and I think he's done an impressive job. And I will argue to death with anybody that says he isn't the perfect Wolverine. First, anybody that was born in 1999 will probably only know Hugh Jackman as Wolverine because he's just been him for so long now.
Yeah. I'm also pretty sure that whoever takes up the mantle next is going to have some pretty big shoes to fill. I don't even know if you really can fill them.
No.
I think at this point you're kind of just...
It was like the jump from Michael Keaton, who just did 2 excellent Batman films, everybody liked him, to Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer wasn't awful, but he wasn't Michael Keaton.
I agree.
So we immediately hated him.
Yeah, and they had George Clooney after that.
No, I shook that from the memory. Hooked me to the machine from the Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind. Wipe it clean, buddy.
I don't blame you in the nipple suit. Yeah, that's a... But such
Chill out, Batman. Let's kill the dinosaurs. The Ice Age freeze.
Such a great trailer, though. Fox really has... I don't know, maybe Fox has really learned what to do with the X-Men series.
I agree. And I think sometimes the fact that Marvel doesn't have their hand in it, and the fact that they don't have to share a universe with 45,000 other movies. Not that Marvel does anything wrong, because that is a neat concept, a shared universe. But just the fact that the X-Men movies can kind of stand alone on their own is what I really appreciate about them. And them films have been very keen on killing people off without it, and they feel like they made a mistake, they'll change the timeline and they're back, you know?
Yeah. I also think that Fox really... They see what Marvel does, and they're like, we need to step our game up. So I think the competition there is really good because they want to make sure the movies do well so people go see them so that they don't lose the rights to these characters.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, there's some things I feel like Fox just did better than Marvel. Quicksilver, I feel like Fox got him right, man. They just... Yeah. I love the Quicksilver versus Marvel. And not anything against, Marvel's version of him. It's just he was nowhere near as fun.
I agree.
As, Days of Future Past, Quicksilver.
More Marvel news. Another Guardians of the Galaxy trailer.
I know.
That's another one where the trailers have just been consistently good.
Amazing.
Were
you ever doubting that? Even if the trailer was just like 5 minutes of baby group dancing, everybody would be psyched about that.
That's true.
That's a great movie.
The first movie was amazing. My fear going into this was similar to that of Iron Man, where the first Iron Man movie was amazing, and then we ended up getting 2 and 3.
Regular Man 3.
Yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, Marvel has done a great job with the Marvel properties. Disney lets Marvel do whatever they want. They just kind of give them money. But
Robert Downey Jr. wants more money. Here's a $1,000 Band-Aid. Here it is. Get that cleaned up.
But Guardians 2 is just looking great, and every trailer just gets me more and more pumped for it.
I think the thing that happened was James Gunn. He didn't cast off of popularity. He didn't cast off of name recognition. He cast off the chemistry. Because at the end of the day, I watched the test footage of Dave Bautista auditioning. He wasn't that great, but his chemistry with Chris Pratt is what got him that part. And at the end of the day, you can learn to be a better actor while filming. You can't teach chemistry. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
You either have it with somebody or you don't.
I agree with that.
And the fact that I feel like it's got to be what he did, how he casted it, because they all just worked so well as a team together.
So we got to look at the new 3 Guardians that are going to be joining the team. You have Yondu, which
Have that comic upstairs.
he's actually one of the original Guardians.
Guardians #1. Just trying to find out the cover.
We have Mantis, who I didn't actually think she was gonna. I knew she was gonna join, but off of the last trailer we saw, where she just kind of touched people and could tell them what they were feeling, I was kind of like, what the heck is she gonna?
She was
do?
also green in the comics, so I'm kind of really weirded out. And I guess with Gamora being green, they
Yeah, in the first trailer, I did not think that was going to be Mantis. I thought it was just going to be some alien they run into on a planet. But I guess that's okay. So, and then we have Gamora's sister.
Yes, well, come on.
Nebula?
There you go. Good job.
Thanks.
I'll give you a treat later.
All right, thanks. Can it be a
Where,
racing car?
I think that could be an interesting concept. Where does her loyalty lie? Is she good? Is she on the team?
Now, I think what's really going to be interesting is we know that they just started filming Infinity War.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You seen that clip on Facebook?
I did. We'll talk about that later, though.
I can't. No, man. It's about to blow up.
But the Guardians are going to be in it, so that means I'm assuming Nebula is going to be in it. Nebula was pretty much all about Thanos.
Yep.
So what do you think? Like what?
Well, watching the little clip online and everything like that, I feel like what we originally said they had to do with Thanos, like him just kill immediate characters off right away, is what we do. So who knows? If coming to find out she's been a spy this whole time for him, that would be an interesting concept. That he's that powerful that this whole time he made us fall in love with her, and oh no.
That's true too.
So and Loki is gonna be in Infinity War, so who knows? Like what?
You think Groot's still gonna be Baby Groot by Infinity War, or do you think he's gonna be like Teen Groot?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm hoping for Teen Groot, but we'll see. Yeah, Marvel's been knocking it out of the park though with these trailers, especially Guardians 2 has been great. I'm super excited for it. We also got the Netflix series trailer for Iron Fist.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Don't care.
I was actually more excited before I saw the trailer than after.
It's because of Jufro.
Maybe.
It's a Jufro, right?
Probably.
Not that there's anything wrong with the Jufro.
I just don't. I don't really
like Marvel's Batman.
He's not the Marvel Batman.
He's Marvel Batman. Comes back with a company.
It just seemed very boring to me in the trailer.
I feel like, honestly, watching this trailer, and even in the trailer, it was like the final Defender. I feel like this is their way of saying, get through this so we can do the Defenders. And to be honest, I'm not that hyped on the Marvel Netflix series. I like Daredevil was pretty good.
I did like Daredevil a lot.
Daredevil season 2 was amazing.
I was not a fan of Jessica Jones.
Didn't like Jessica Jones. Luke Cage was hit or miss for me. I like Luke Cage as a black show. I did not like it as a Marvel show. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah,
I love the music. I love the atmosphere. I love the fact that it all took place in Harlem. Did not like the Marvel aspect of it. You know what I mean? The fact that it tied in with Jessica Jones and all that. So, but yeah, like I said, I really like Daredevil. Be honest, we discussed this before. I hope this universe stays separate from the Marvel
Cinematic.
Yeah.
They said that it is, but we'll see.
I just love the grounded, dark realism of Daredevil, and I hope that spreads through all the shows. To be honest, I would love to see a Punisher show, because he was the best part of Daredevil season 2, man.
I think they said they were doing one, didn't they? I believe they said that they're going to do Punisher's getting his own series, which I do
I'm
agree.
wearing a Suicide Squad shirt right now. Do I look like I look Marvel News up? Let's be honest.
It's true. But yeah, I was a little disappointed with the trailer. Hopefully they come out with another one before the series launches. That really gets me into it. I'm probably gonna check it out because I have Netflix, so it's like, why not? But it's not something that I really care for right now.
And then the only thing else that sounds really silly, but it annoys me. I don't like this whole. I understand it's grounded in realism. Daredevil season 1 pissed me off with it. I didn't get to see the suit until the last episode. Iron Fist, I didn't see the suit at all in the trailer, which makes me wonder, is he even getting a costume?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to see what their grounded in realism version of his costume would be. You know what I mean?
I could agree with that.
So, I like the way Luke Cage did it. I thought that was pretty neat, where you got the old school costume because he stole clothes in the beginning, and that's comfortable for him. And I like the rest of the show. He had the yellow T-shirt. I thought that was a pretty neat idea. But
So
he
moving
was
on from
powerful.
that, let's move on to some Disney news. Looks like the Aladdin live action movie will not be whitewashed.
Don't
Disney
believe
has
it.
said. No?
Don't believe it, man. I mean, kind of maybe. Like, who are they gonna get? They're not gonna get Middle Eastern people.
The only one that I don't think will that I still think will probably be white. Two characters, Iago, because it's just a voice actor, and Genie. I'm assuming those would probably be the two that you could still probably get.
Who would dare step in the genie's shoes? Come on, man.
Yeah, that's gonna
Whoever
be
they
hard.
give that part to, they will be instantly hated on the internet.
Well, I
Doesn't matter.
heard that the Genie for this movie is not going to be the same Genie we know.
Even then, people are going to complain about that. Like,
I agree.
and what's insane is Robin Williams recorded so much dialogue for that film. They could have done like 3 more sequels with just the extra dialogue he recorded. He just had in his contract that they couldn't do that.
Wow.
But he recorded a lot of dialogue for that. He just improv that entire movie.
Huh. Wow. I didn't know that. That's actually really cool.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching a deleted scene with him.
I really think Disney is trying to do the right thing, and not just with the Aladdin series, but also with Star Wars. They want the whole Carrie Fisher thing. I really feel like Disney is just in a position where it's like you're screwed no matter what you do, because obviously everyone loves Robin Williams as Genie. And no matter what you do, if you were to use his voice again, some people might see it as in bad taste. And then if you just get someone new, people are going to be like, oh, you think you could just replace Robin Williams? And then Carrie Fisher, it's like, oh, if you CGI her.
Bad taste.
Yeah, but then if you replace her with another actress.
That's not Carrie Fisher, yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, what do you think the genie's going to look like in this live action? Because obviously the Beauty and the Beast is stayed really close to the original animated film. Although the Beast is handsome with horns, you know what I mean. Still, very furry, has that huge upper body. You know what I mean. What do you think they're gonna make the genie look like? Because I'm just so terrified it's another Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal, where he just looks like a regular person.
I'm hoping it's not that.
Yeah, rapping genie.
But I'm also hoping he doesn't just look like a cloud.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind if it looked similar to the genie we know from the Disney animated series. Obviously, I think they kind of want to stay away from that, though. Like I said, they want to make it from what I've heard, it's going to be a different genie from what we know. He's not going to be so funny and playful. So they may want to give him a more serious look to go with the new mood that they're trying to set with him. I just don't know if it's going to work.
Are they putting that Boo in it? Yeah, Boo, the little monkey.
He's
Who had the same little outfit Aladdin did.
He's probably going to be in it.
And a little vest and hat. It was amazing.
You know who did you ever see Slumdog Millionaire?
Yes.
I think you could probably take quite a few people from that cast.
That's racist.
For this movie.
Right.
I think they were all really great actors, and I think they could really...
Still racist.
Oh, come on.
All right, I can see that. Yeah. Do they have that? Is it a big American film, or should they send it over to Bollywood?
I don't know what they're going to do. I would assume it's going to be American.
No, of course it's American.
But
it's like the Harry Potter movies are all American films, but they swear they're British.
Next on the movie front, we have we just watched the new Teen Titans animated movies trailer.
Yes, Teen Titans Judas.
Yes. What'd you think of it?
Amazing, great, fantastic.
Looks really good. You know who's slowly becoming a favorite of mine? Damian Wayne.
I was going to say Damian Wayne.
I didn't like him in the comics. He was such a little dick.
He's what he's supposed to be.
I understand that's what he's supposed to be. But maybe it's because in the comics I add my own personality to it. Because, you're just looking at panel to panel.
Sure.
And then when you're watching like the animated film, the way I see him is a little different than what I imagined. Like, he's a dick, but he's kind of like that playful dick. So it's kind of like
All right, continue.
But I've been really enjoying him.
You probably know about that a lot there, buddy.
Animated movies. So what did you like from the trailer?
To be honest, it's DC animated movies, and they've all been good, except for Killing Joke. I will not forgive them for that. But besides that, they're just solid films they put out, really good. But everything I like in the show, the Deathstroke, the fighting, Blue Beetle being back is always exciting. Nightwing, It looks like it's just focusing on the Teen Titans in this, which is really neat. One thing I love about the DC comics is the DC animated universe, they're not afraid to take them obscure characters that people might have never heard of. So
I agree with that.
I'm excited about it. Plus, the last Teen Titan film was Teen Titan versus Justice League, and I've really enjoyed that. So I like the concept of Teen Titans. Why I love Young Justice in general.
Do you think DC isn't going into some of the other characters enough though? Like we're getting Teen Titan movies, we always get Batman. We just got Justice League Dark, which really is a Batman movie. Well, actually, I heard John Constantine is the main focus of the movie.
Because John Constantine is that dude, and the dude from the show voiced him. I thought that was really neat.
So, do you really feel like we only got one Aquaman movie? Do you think we could do more with that? Cyborg's never gotten anything.
I don't like Cyborg, but yeah, I can see that. You know what? I love Dr. Fate. I'd love to see a Dr. Fate movie. Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate too.
Yeah,
tell his story. Yeah, I would.
We got no Captain Atom movies. So I mean, like, do you think like they're just kind of holding back on some of these other characters? Like
perhaps. I mean, with their expanded universe too, because you got to remember, the Atom is in the CW universe, Arrow universe,
That's
which
true.
is really neat. And then Smallville, they touched on everybody in Smallville, from the Wonder Twins to Dr. Fate to Hawkman, Plastic Man, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold. Everybody was in Smallville.
Yeah.
Smallville on the low, like, really fit in a lot of DC lore, like that whole thing. Remember that episode Impulse, where like he had all the different names, Barry Allen, Burr Allen? I thought that was really neat. You never watched Smallville, did you?
No, I didn't.
Nope, you could see it all over your face.
Yeah, I heard it was a good series.
It got progressively better.
I tried to watch the first season. I just couldn't get into it.
It's Kryptonite villain of the week.
Yeah, but
this person's made out of kryptonite. This one juggles kryptonite. This one has kryptonite for a hand. Yeah, it was awful.
Maybe I'll check it out again since you're telling me it's better. Well, it gets better over time. But yeah, I thought the movie looked really good though. Hopefully I'm sure it will be good because DC does a great job with their animated movies.
I agree. Justice League War is still amazing.
Yeah, oh my god, such a good
Darkseid slaps Green Lantern.
But what is it with DC and really like cutting Aquaman out? He wasn't in Justice League War.
Yeah.
They replaced him with Shazam.
And then they did the Throne of Atlantis storyline.
That's his only thing that they
Yeah, because even in Teen Titans versus... He wasn't even in Teen Titans versus Justice League, you're right. Like I said, there's this stigma for Aquaman. I get really defensive because I love Arthur Curry.
Me too.
But like I always say, thanks to Family Guy and stuff like that, people always make these stupid Aquaman jokes. And it's not stupid. I understand. Everybody wants to make fun of.
Do you think they're waiting until after the live action Justice League movie? Like they're really hoping maybe Jason Momoa adds something to the character that people are like, oh, Aquaman, you do not fuck with Aquaman.
I'm hoping, yeah, that could be what they're doing, or maybe it could go down to sales. We should look up the numbers one day, see how well Justice League Throne of Atlantis did. I love that film. I thought it was great. What's his face that played Ocean Master? I can't even... Sam Witwerth?
Yeah, Sam Witwerth.
I loved him as Ocean Master. Thought he was fantastic. The introduction of Black Mantis into that was a great movie, but maybe not a lot of people picked it up because it had Atlantis on the cover, you know?
Yeah, Aquaman is just one of those characters that I've always really liked, and I kind of just feel like they just kind of cut him short.
I agree with that. I remember when Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe was coming out, and there was this big panel of like people talking and requesting characters when they were announcing them, and one guy was like, "How about Aquaman? He's an awesome DC character," and like Midway laughed, like Aquaman. Like, wow, that just shows you don't know the lore of how great Aquaman is.
Yeah.
Which they learned their lesson because then they threw him in Injustice, and he was one of the coolest characters.
Oh man, he was awesome. Keeping with DC, we just recently heard that the Batman movie might be going under a rewrite.
Another rewrite. Yeah, I'm worried. Worried about the whole DC universe.
Yeah, first we find out that Ben Affleck's not going to direct it anymore.
Which I was surprised with, and when people are like, "Oh, but he wants to focus on being Batman," he like stars and directs every other movie. Like, why is this the first one where he doesn't want to direct?
Yeah. Well, from my understanding was he doesn't want a repeat of Daredevil. He doesn't want to tarnish the character, so he really wants to focus on being Batman. I can respect that. The problem now, though, is I really like Ben Affleck as a director. It's like, well, what is this movie gonna be now? compared to what in my head it could have been.
I mean, they're talking about the guy that did War of the Planet of the Apes that's directing, which if they get him, I'm excited.
Same. I heard he's like their front runner right now,
Yeah.
but they don't know if he's going to accept it or whatnot.
But I do what I'm hoping it wasn't that I always kind of feel like was going on with DC is a lot of studio involvement, a lot of studio like picking and prodding, and directors hate when you do that.
Yeah.
You just change their film up. It was one of the big issues that they have with Suicide Squad. Is David what's his name? Guy that directed Suicide Squad?
I don't remember.
Whatever, Training Day guy. But he complained that the studio came and changed what his film was, pricked and prodded to the point where he just released what he released, and it always makes you worried. You know what I mean? Like a director has an image in their head of what they want, and that's what they want to release.
Maybe that's one of the things that Marvel really has going for it. Disney doesn't interfere with Marvel. Maybe that's something that WB needs to do with the DC universe.
I agree. But like I said, one of the big things people complained about Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman was there was too many elements in it, and that wasn't Zack Snyder. People keep pointing the finger at him. That was the studio executive saying, "Hey, you have to set up the Justice League movie and all these other characters in this one film that's supposed to also be a sequel to Man of Steel. Good luck, buddy." And for what he was handed, I think he did a really good job.
I agree with that. I actually still think Batman v Superman was a really good movie.
I agree with you. A little long for my taste, but still a really fun movie. Plus, Ben Affleck was the bomb in that movie. Bomb, man.
I knew he was going to be the best Batman, but I mean, man, when he proved it, I was
I
just
like them shoes. Like, come on. He was amazing. Even his one-liners that any other Batman would have said were cheesy were just so cool from him. When he says Martha Wayne, he's like, "I'm a friend of your son's." It's just like, I figured with the cape, I was like, love this movie.
Yeah.
So.
So what do you think this means for the movie, and when do you think we're going to see it now?
Honestly, this year is very important for DC. If Wonder Woman and Justice League do not do well, and both, even if they do well, box office wise and just review wise, get torn apart, I think the DC universe is done. They're going to reboot it again, or do something with it. A lot of the rumors I've heard online is since this universe, big film, isn't doing well, but the CW universe is doing well, review-wise and everything like that, that broaden that to be their bigger universe. Which TV is the way to go sometimes, but I think Wonder Woman's got to do amazing, and it's on an uphill battle already.
Yeah.
It's a female, and let's be honest, us Americans don't like our female heroes. And Justice League's got to kill it. And to be honest, I'm frightened for Justice League, because originally I was like, why wouldn't Justice League do well? And then thinking about it, Batman v Superman didn't do as well as a Marvel film, which is mind-boggling to me. This is the two biggest iconic superheroes in the world. Even people that had never heard of it, I could just see them going to a theater and be like, Batman, Superman, oh, I gotta see this.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
When do you think we're going to see it?
What?
The movie, Batman. When do you think, because if it's getting a rewrite, I would assume it's probably going to get pushed.
I don't see it coming until after let's say the plan goes in order the way it wants. I see Aquaman happening first, Flash happening first, Justice League Part 1 and 2, and the Green Lantern film before we finally get this Batman movie.
Because Batman was supposed to come out next year, isn't it? 2018 originally?
Well, it was planned for 2020 or 2019, and they pushed it up because, how well Ben Affleck's Batman was received. And now, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I'm...
Probably the original date of 2019 is when we're getting it.
Maybe. I hope so. I really want to see more Ben Affleck as Batman. And I hope they don't reboot the series and then we have to get a new Batman and stuff like that. I hope if they do reboot it, they keep Ben Affleck at least. And maybe some of these other actors. I really like Ezra Miller as Flash from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I got to see him in Justice League. I like, what's her face as Wonder Woman?
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, I think she's just a wonderful Wonder Woman. She's it's weird. She's what I pictured Wonder Woman would sound like, move, everything. So
I could agree with that.
Yeah. So keep those two. Could care less about Henry Cavill. And it's nothing personal to him, man. I just can't.
I wonder if it's really him or the direction they're pushing him in when they're directing him.
I don't know, man. It's this dark, brooding Superman I just hate. He looks so depressed to be saving people, man. Anytime people made fun of Batman v Superman, I would stick up for it. When they bring that up, I'm like, I got nothing. You're right. That scene where they're sitting on top of the roof trying to get saved from a flood. He looks pissed.
He has to
Like,
save them.
okay, guys, I guess let me just get you out of this situation. Blow the whole ocean away.
So we'll move on to Netflix. They are doing a Castlevania animated series.
Yeah, I heard.
That sounds awesome.
It does.
So what?
Violent, rated R animated series. Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
From my understanding, it's not going to follow a Belmont.
Really?
Yeah, from what I read, they didn't give a character name, but they didn't use Belmont.
There's so many Belmonts, I don't care. That franchise is going through every uncle, nieces, cousins, former roommates.
Now, do you think they're just going to do an original new story?
Probably, or even just set it in that universe and have that kind of be a side thing going on. That'd be something pretty neat. Co-siding thing running while, Castlevania storyline elements are happening, you know what I mean? This is what happened in Dracula's castle. But what happened outside of the castle? You know what I mean? Because there's still werewolves and monsters and Frankenstein's all outside too. Like, that's...
There already was a Castlevania animated series before, wasn't there? I could be mistaken. I believe there was.
There were some animes, and then there was Captain N. Sam Belmont was in that, but that show was amazingly terrible.
So,
You know what show was great? Mighty Max, but that's a different story. Any of our viewers that were born in the 90s or 80s just got that reference.
Yeah, I don't know. I really want this to do well, but at the same time, a part of me is like, are they doing this to lead up to a new Castlevania game? In which case, I'm still kind of burned by Konami from what they did to Kojima, so I might not buy it out of spite.
Yeah.
I just don't know,
The last Castlevania game I played was the one for the 3DS.
Okay.
What was that called? Can't even remember. But it was really good, and I feel like Castlevania still puts out really solid games.
Mirror or something?
Yes.
Shattered Mirror or something?
I just don't understand, I still think they put out really good games, so we'll see.
Next, we actually missed something for movies. Friday the 13th movie reboot got canceled. How do you feel about that?
I don't care.
I was actually kind of excited for it, but I think it's just I'm not a big horror fan. I know you are.
I am.
You love your horror movies.
I do.
Have you ever been a Friday the 13th fan? Or?
Jason's cool. You know what I mean? There's movies out of that franchise I like, but overall, as a franchise, I don't think it's one of the best. So, I definitely prefer Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
Robert Englund was that dude, man.
Yeah, so that got canceled, and it was supposed to come out this October, which I feel like that's super late to cancel. Like, I feel like that's so soon to just cancel a movie, but I mean, I guess if it wasn't going the way...
Horror films aren't expensive or hard to film. You think about it. All the actors are always B actors. First time you ever see them in films. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? We had Chris Hemsworth in the Cabin in the Woods.
That movie was incredible. I would swear by that. But with that saying, he filmed that before Thor. He filmed that before Star Trek. Yeah. They literally released that because he was in it.
But that movie was ridiculous.
I love that movie.
But you're right, and I don't know how long. I know horror movies are cheap to film. I did not know how long they take to film. So maybe they didn't even start filming it, and they were gonna. It's just like a 2 or 3 month process.
But normal filming takes 8 to 12 weeks normally, and I'm thinking horror movies probably down to 6 weeks. Huh. You know what I mean? For bad weather.
Yeah. In which case, they probably hope for it. Oh, it's raining. Get outside.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, cool. It would have been the last reboot we had. Friday the 13th wasn't awful, but I always appreciate sequels, man. I don't understand why they constantly have to reboot franchises.
Okay,
as cheesy as Jason X was, at least you did something cool. You were a sequel that took place in outer space. All right, that was different.
Yeah. I personally, I'm not really disappointed. I don't really care too much. Like I said, I'm not a big horror fan. I feel like as I get older, the horror movies they're just not scary to me really anymore. It's more, and I feel like horror has also gone in this way of trying to be more gory than it is trying to be scary.
With Saul.
Yeah, so I also don't like that. But we'll see. Maybe even though it's canceled, maybe they'll find a new director and a new direction for it. And maybe people will still get to see it. I know they it was supposed to come out in October. They replaced it with a new movie called Mother that's going to come out. Which I feel like there was already a movie called Mother.
Mama.
Mama. There we go. You're right. Never mind.
Didn't watch it because it looked stupid.
I didn't see it either. But that's it for movie news. Let's get on to video games.
Like what?
Well,
what have you been playing this week?
This week, all I've been playing is Neo.
Oh, how is it, by the way?
Really good. It's a really...
Is it difficult?
It is difficult.
Is it frustrating?
A little.
It's Dark Souls.
So I would say it's a combination of Onimusha, Ninja Gaiden, and Dark Souls.
Can you run up the wall?
You cannot run up the wall.
That's not Ninja Gaiden.
Well, the speed is what I'm considering from the Ninja Gaiden department. Well, it's made by the guys that made Ninja Gaiden, but those are the three things I would say really are the souls of this game. Get it?
I see what you did
It's
there.
like a soul series.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What have you been playing?
Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 2 on my Vita.
I saw you were playing too.
Yes.
How's that holding up for you?
It is still amazing. I was surprised. I was like, oh man, it's been years. It's still a great freaking game, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think, honestly, I'm really surprised I don't see Resident Evil 2 on the list of greatest games more often because it was a great game. Like, think about it, man. Like, Resident Evil 1 came out of nowhere and like, wow, this is great. And then they had to follow that up with a sequel, and the sequel still holds up to this day. And I'm like, you did it, Capcom. Good job. But yeah, I'm playing it on the Vita. And granted, everything looks good on that little screen, but it's still, the graphics are still really well done. I'm just enjoying it.
So how's it play on the Vita? Does it play
Good.
well, or do you have that? I know we talked about this before. Some games have this touchpad problem in the back where you touch it by accident and things happen.
Two things that are awesome about this was, and I forgot all about this, the original release of it, it didn't use R2L2, so you don't have that issue of the touchpad in the back. Controls are pretty responsive too on that, and always on the Vita. I just recently figured out on the Vita you can edit your controls.
Okay.
On older games like that, so I just fixed Tomb Raider because that was driving me crazy.
Well, that's awesome. So one of
I
our
don't mean to be on this Resident Evil kick.
it's fine, man. Hey, after Resident Evil 7, I don't blame you. It was a great game. Nintendo recently came out and said the Switch is not going to be backwards compatible, which we kind of already expected.
I did. I saw the cartridges today. They are tiny, man.
Yeah, and
They're smaller than the Vita's ones. They're like this big.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see they were that small. Wow.
Yeah, I was looking. That's all I watched this morning was Switch stuff with my son, and they opened Breath of the Wild, and which also annoyed me. Why waste all this plastic? You know what I mean? Not that I'm an environmental or anything, but
the case looks like the PSP cases, aren't they? Kind of.
no, they look like a Wii U case, like a
Really?
sad case, but with this tiny itty bitty chip in it.
Just give me DS cases.
That's DS cases. I would have took Vita cases, like
yeah.
So it's really mind-boggling to me how big the case was for this tiny this, and I'm really wondering. Breath of the Wild looks huge, and like real expensive, and I know Nintendo usually puts out decently length games. What Zelda is like under 12 hours.
Yeah, that's
so like,
definitely
to
true.
fit that all on that, I'm shocked. I'm surprised.
Well, Flash Media is definitely getting better.
You're getting better.
Thanks, I try really hard. But they also said Nintendo said that there are no controller compatibility, which people have gotten used to because the Wii you could use the GameCube, and then with the Wii U
you could use the
Wii remotes and the GameCube controller if you got the adapter.
Yeah. Honestly, one, I can think they can still do an adapter. Number two, the way I look at it, everybody that's tried the Pro controller on the videos I've watched have all said that is the greatest controller they've ever felt. Most of them said my favorite controller of all time is still been the GameCube controller.
Okay.
I love that controller. They've all said this surpassed the GameCube controller, which I'll determine that when I hold it. It's also $70, so it better be the best experience I've ever had.
Yeah, that's my problem with that controller right now.
The only thing else I do really like about it, I was discussing this earlier with my son, I think it's cool that you get the Joy-Con sticks form a controller for when you're playing at home, but then you can also take them apart to make two separate controllers. And from what I heard, even if you have huge hands, it's still pretty comfortable in your hand.
That's good.
So
I heard that one thing that helps is when you slide the little grip thing on the side to make it a little bigger. If you have like really big hands, it really helps with the comfort of it.
hands.
Yeah, I know you do.
With that being said, am I really upset that it's not backwards compatible? Yes, because there's Wii U games that I just swear by. I think Bayonetta 2, and the only way to play it was on the Wii U.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing game.
Now, do you want to see more ports?
I would love to see, that was the thing to say, as long as they start giving me some ports, I'll be okay with it.
Okay.
I would love to see a port because we're getting Mario Kart Deluxe. I think love to see a port of Bayonetta. I would love to see a port of Star Fox.
I'm sure we're gonna get a Smash Brothers in the similar way that they're.
They better give me. I was just thinking about that earlier. Yesterday when you weren't here, you stood me up from work.
I'm sorry.
Yes, the few people that did come over, we played Smash Brothers, and I was like, come March 3rd, I'm gonna have a Switch. I was like, I better be getting a Smash Brothers really soon with this.
I kind of hope they do what they did with Mario Kart Deluxe and give us the full roster, but also add like some new characters.
Yeah, and all Mario Kart Deluxe did was add three characters. If you want to count the two different.
But you could just do that, and that would go a long way.
What characters do you want to add?
Holy crap! I want Snake back.
All right, I was one of the ones I was going to put out. We're going with three. Say they give us three new characters.
So if I could get three, I want Snake. I really want more Fire Emblem, but I really feel like there's enough Fire Emblem. So I'm not.
Definitely is.
I'm not going to say a Fire Emblem character. Waluigi.
All right.
I think could be an interesting one, and.
Put lipstick on there, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I really don't know who else you could get. Ooh, maybe another Square character. Maybe from Dragon Quest, because Square Enix really likes to support Nintendo, it seems. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. Or Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
Or Banjo, should I say.
Yeah, I can't say that with Rare still on in there.
Or Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight's a good idea. I would love to see Bomberman.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Especially with Bomberman Arc.
Or that's what I thought. It'd be a really cool concept. I could just see the amazing moves with Bomberman. I also want to see Metroid.
Okay.
An actual Metroid, I think, would be a neat character to have.
Who would you want? Like, which one would you want to see? Like, just the actual floating Metroid, or would you want to see, like, okay.
Or, what was the other one? The one that Samus has been fighting forever, that purple dragon.
Ridley?
Ridley. Love to see Ridley.
Yeah, I think Ridley would be really cool.
But, of course, like I said, you stole it already, but Solid Snake, come back, man, please. I love the fact that he was the only one that talked in Brawl, and they made that joke over and over. Why are you guys saying silent? Colonel, I've been fighting these people. They say silent in battle. I've never seen training like this. Bro, it's so great because of Snake in there. I love that dialogue.
Keeping on Nintendo news, Nintendo is already talking about coming out with a Switch Pro. Switch isn't even out yet.
I know.
And they're already talking about coming out with a Switch Pro, which will kind of be like that midway upgrade, kind of like PlayStation did with the PS4 Pro, and Xbox is doing with the Scorpio that comes out later this year.
You're a Scorpio.
Thanks. How do you feel about that?
Kind of a slap in the face for anybody that just reserved, or like me, has mostly paid off their Switch.
Yeah.
Because you mean, I'm still going to get the Switch, because knowing my luck, they'll be like, yeah, now we're not going to do the Pro. But, like I said, one of the things we talked about earlier, or a while ago when I was talking to you, one of the things I'm worried about is getting the Switch and then them releasing something so much cooler down like look over there, the Legend of Zelda Wii U. That was released 6 months after the Wii U. Good thing I waited that 6 months, because I would have been furious of buying a Wii U at launch and then seeing that thing come out.
I could definitely agree with that. And it's actually a beautiful gamepad.
Oh, it is amazing.
But now here's the thing that I think. You could easily, with the Switch, make an upgrade without needing to buy a whole console. You could just upgrade the dock.
Absolutely.
And you can buy the dock separately, so that would be pretty cool. Because then I wouldn't feel as burned if they did that. Mm-hmm. Whereas if it's a whole new console. But the argument then is the graphic difference when you undock it is going to be so big at that point. Yeah, it's going to be so drastic at that point that I think it's going to be an eyesore to some people.
Yeah. With that being said, I was severely surprised listening to the text today. The Switch is considered just that screen. That's it.
Yes.
The dock is legitimately just the thing that transfers it to the TV.
Yes.
Dock does nothing else.
Yep.
And even when you plug in your HDMI, it plugs into the actual screen. All right? Not into the dock, not into anything. Everything runs from that thing.
Huh.
And it's mind-boggling to me. And it's crazy to do any extras. Like I was looking at all text today. the SD card port because I'm going to get an SD card when I get it.
That's also right underneath
On the
the
thing. So
kickstand.
it's got to be out of the dock to put that in. So like that dock is literally there as the connection to the TV. So I was discussing it with a friend of mine. Is Nintendo considering this a portable console that you can connect to your TV, or a console for the TV that's also portable? Which one does Nintendo see it as?
Yeah, it's definitely hard to tell because they're just all over the place.
I know, and like the whole time when I first heard this pitch, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! It's like a home console I can bring on the go." But now I'm looking at it like, wow, that's legitimately the system. It's just that screen right there, where the cartridges go, everything.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. March 3rd is right around the corner.
I know.
It's getting close.
But it's going by slow. This month has been dragging, man.
It is.
Because I'm ready for this. March 2nd, midnight.
So, also staying on with the Nintendo news, you love Final Fantasy 15.
I did.
I love Final Fantasy 15.
It was a great game.
Yeah, you're not playing it on your Switch.
I'm fine with that.
Apparently,
There's no way that thing was running on the Switch.
The creator of Final Fantasy 15 says, as of right now, there's no plans to run Final Fantasy 15 on the Switch because they don't think they can do it. They haven't tried, but they're pretty sure that it's not going to happen.
There is no way, man. Honestly, I'm okay with that because majority of the Final Fantasy games since 7, because before that they did have an exclusive with Nintendo.
With Nintendo, yes.
Have been on the other consoles. You know what I mean? Sony had it running for a while, and then 360 finally got it when, 12 came out or 13 came out. But what Nintendo did get was a lot of awesome side story Final Fantasy games. As long as you give me that, I'm okay with it.
I can agree with that. I definitely think it'd be cool to see something like Crystal Chronicles come back again.
Absolutely, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I need these big Final Fantasies, but if you give me something stylized, similar to like Wind Waker, something that the graphics just don't eat.
Karate chop in the air, then.
Well, you have the Wind Waker box over there, so that's what I was pointing at.
Honestly, as much as I liked 15, it did depart a long way from what made RPGs fun for me growing up. And that is just the big space of it. I would love to go back to a Switch Final Fantasy that's in these small towns where you walk through the marketplace and stuff like that. I would love to see that, so you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really miss turn-based, and Square has they've gone really far off of that because I know they want to bring more people into the series, and that's fine, I get it. But I really think you need to have a series for your diehard Final Fantasy fans, you know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be a numbered series anymore. You can just give me a spin-off like we were just talking about, maybe for the Switch or anything at that point. I just want it.
What gives me hope is since Capcom is releasing, Capcom said they obviously the Switch isn't getting Street Fighter 5, so instead they're getting Super Street Fighter 2, the Ultimate Edition. That's good news for me. That Capcom as companies doing. Here's what we're giving you, Nintendo. If more companies take that way, I'd be really excited about it.
My only concern with it, and this episode is probably going to go over an hour. I'm sorry, guys, but it won't.
Deal with it.
My only concern is a lot of the stuff we see coming from third party are old games and ports, which is kind of concerning to me because
Street Fighter has new characters.
It's still a
got 2 new characters. No, 3 new characters.
Oh man,
3.
I'm just concerned that third party is treating this as a stepping stone, which I don't blame them. Like they're kind of like, hey, we don't want to put something big and new on here that costs us a lot of money, and then your console not do well. I get that, but at the same time, it's kind of like I need reasons to buy your console, Nintendo.
I agree. I don't want re-releases. I want new experiences. With that saying, do I expect the same experience I get from the PlayStation 4? Absolutely not. Am I expecting Resident Evil 7 on the Switch? No. Another Umbrella Chronicles? I'll be happy with. Thank you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I can agree with that. As long as Nintendo gets its exclusives, I'll be happy.
Be like Revelations. I love that game. That was a Wii U game. You know what I mean? So something along that lines.
3DS first. Then I went to Wii U. I'm sorry. Don't give me the finger. That's rude. And then the last Nintendo news we have, and then we actually have reader mail we'll go into.
Reader mail?
Yeah, we have one. The last Nintendo news is Nintendo plans on releasing 2 to 3 mobile games a year. You haven't played any of them. I played Mario Run. It was It was okay. The one I've really been into though is Fire Emblem.
Yes,
Fire Emblem Heroes.
Played that all last Saturday when you were here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Fire Emblem
Didn't
Heroes
look up at me once.
has really taken
Your girlfriend was sitting there. She's not an ugly girl either. Very pretty. You were ignoring her. Just playing your little phone, man. How many people were at my house last week? You know why he has to thank people? Because he was sitting on his phone all night playing Fire Emblem. He should have done the commercial. You know what I mean? I would have narrated it. Want to ignore your friends in public? Fire Emblem mobile.
So they also have an Animal Crossing mobile game set to come out.
Ooh, which I'm actually excited about.
That sounds pretty cool.
I do love Animal Crossing.
Yeah, so I can agree with that. How do you feel about this? What are some titles you would like to see go mobile?
I would like to start seeing some older ports of original NES games. I think it would be pretty neat.
Okay.
Imagine Zelda on the NES. That would be neat. I don't like the run games. I never have.
Neither have I.
No. Fire Emblem I thought was an awesome choice. You know what I mean? Yeah, that makes sense. You know what else would be neat? They didn't do it right for the Wii U, but they did do it well for the DS. That Kirby, the Cursed Canvas, where you had to move around. Something like that for the phone. That would be neat.
That'd be pretty cool. That would actually be really good for kids too. Just draw on your finger type of thing.
A downgrade of Metroid Prime. You know what I mean? On the phone where your thumb is your, stick moving it around. That's my blaster. So stuff like that would be neat. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't also mind seeing like a Star Fox.
Ooh.
But where you don't play as a Star Fox character.
Who do you play as?
Where you're a part of his force.
That's pretty good.
Like Fox is giving you missions, and like you and me could be a part of the same force, and we get sent out on these missions and on our mobile phones.
You know, it'd be neat if they took a next
kind of like asteroids.
Yeah, you could be a part of Fox team, I'm part of Wolf's team. You know what I mean? And starting to
That'd
get
be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or if like even Skippy and them, split up.
Nobody's hanging out with Skippy. Not one.
No, come on.
Not one person.
Someone will do it.
Yeah.
Someone will do it. I'll do it.
I finally just traded in my Star Fox Tower Defense game. I love that game, but I knew I was never going to play it again, so I traded it in.
How much you get for it?
$1. Not even. I don't think. I think I got $1 because I was trading into something, but it was worth like 7 cents.
What jerks?
It's all right.
But
you know how many people probably traded that game? It's not GameStop's fault that 4,000 people traded that game in all at once.
That's true. So that will end it with the news. Let's move on to reader mail.
Do you have any other news? No, then? All right.
Now we're done. Yeah, the news is that is it.
All right. With this being said, my good friend here, Zabo. I know that's not his last name. Just what I call it. Deal with it.
I don't mind.
All right. I'm explaining for the listeners. That's not what his name
But
is.
when I do it,
Yeah.
Yes, because he calls me Zabo is why in episode 1 I messed up my own name. For those of you who have been listening that long.
Let's take it back all the way. I've known this person for years. What is it? It's been over 10 years we've known each other?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And we purposely messed your last name up when we first met you to be jerks. And it's kind of stuck.
Oh.
So there it is. There it is. It's really mean, by the way. Imagine if it was like a worse nickname you'd be stuck with forever. Hey, shithead.
I guess I should be thankful.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, like I was saying, this reader mail is really deep, man.
Yeah.
This guy put some time into this question.
Yeah. So this question might take us a little bit to answer. Hopefully you guys enjoy our answer as well as the question. So this says, "Hey, the enthusiast. My name is Danny. I started listening to your show after your Resident Evil 7 spoiler cast, and went back to previous podcasts. Really enjoy what you guys are doing, and I hope you keep it up. So my question is, the question I have, kind of wrote this wrong. The question I have for you guys is, if The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild didn't have the Zelda name in the title, would the game still be impressive? Plenty of games have done what Zelda is finally now doing, and some would argue do it better. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, and I look forward to your future podcast. From Danny."
All right. Well, thank you for the question, Danny.
Yeah.
2 things. Wow, that is a well thought out question. Gave me one of those like, ooh, stares. I agree 100% with him. The other games have done it. And the fact that this game is getting so much attention is because this is the first time Nintendo is attempting this with a Zelda game. With that being said, and I do not mean to be on top of Nintendo's dick, I do not mean to do it. There is a rare thing of having a bad Zelda game. So do I think this game has been done before? Absolutely. Do I think this game is being done this year with Event Horizon Zero
Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn, which looks like it could potentially even be better. Do I think that is a potential? Yes. But do I think Nintendo will have something up their sleeve will make this game stand out? Absolutely. There's always something that Zelda does where you're like, wow, whether it was Wind Waker with the no load screens and the biggest map ever, or Twilight Princess with just amazing solid controls and the best dungeons in a Zelda game. There's going to be something that makes this stand out why we always talk about this Zelda game.
So, my thoughts on this are, I definitely agree with him. There are games that I think have done what Zelda is trying to do now better than what Zelda is even trying to do right now. Whenever I see stuff on Zelda Breath of the Wild, as much as I love how it looks, it does look very empty. It looks like a world where there's just a couple enemies sprinkled around. And don't get me wrong, we haven't seen the full game, so we don't know. Maybe there are villagers also walking around that will give you quests. But in comparison to a game like...
it could have to do with the storyline. We still know what the story is.
That's true, too. But I feel like if your storyline is people have... It's perished, and that's why there aren't as many people, that to me is just being lazy.
Cop out.
Yes. Instead of making a living world, you chose to do that. I'm going to feel a little sore about it. With that being said, and I mean, like, Horizon looks like it's a full environmental thing. There's people walking around. You have events going on. And even other games have done it already. You know, you have, like, your Fallouts,
Skyrim. Just recently, Far Cry Primal.
Yeah.
That was a living... Far Cry in general, there's just living environments.
Yeah, so I definitely can understand the argument of saying... Zelda's doing something that the other games have already done, and they're not even doing it as well. But what I will give Zelda, and I have always loved about Zelda, one is their puzzles. Zelda has some of the best puzzles I've ever seen.
You feel so accomplished when you finish them too.
Yeah, they know how to do dungeons. Zelda has some great dungeons.
I always argue this with the dungeons. Think about it this way: you can't save halfway through a dungeon. And you're okay with that. You play through the entire dungeon.
Yeah.
Because that's just how well done dungeons are.
I agree. Now, do I think Zelda's narrative needs to maybe take a step forward? Yes. I actually think they're doing that with Breath of the Wild, though. They have voice acting finally.
I know, man. Mind-boggling. I was just going to mention that. As the one thing I'm looking forward to is voice acting.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, that's another thing that other games have been doing for so long that for some people probably isn't a big deal.
But to diehard Nintendo fans, it is. Because it's just, wow, that's never.
I agree. The problem is, and I can see from someone who's not a Nintendo fan, how this cannot look impressive.
Absolutely.
I can see how someone could argue, I've played this already, and you're not even that... It doesn't even look that great in comparison to something I've already done. You have Mass Effect Andromeda coming out, which is going to be whole planets that you can go on.
To me, the equivalent of this is if Nintendo dropped a trailer for Mario Mushroom Kingdom, where you could get into a cart anytime you want, drive around, go to city and do missions. Nintendo fanboys will lose their mind. Everybody else would be like, this is Grand Theft Auto Mario.
Yeah. And they're going to be like, and it's not even as fun.
And it's not even as fun because I can't shoot anyone. But the point being, I think anybody that's a Nintendo fan understands Nintendo will do something to make that game its own and special and amazing. So
I can agree.
It all depends on how you view the Legend of Zelda franchise.
And I think a lot of things that people forget is Nintendo is for families. They don't want to just make a game for adults, and for mature audiences, they want the whole family to be able to enjoy it. And you have kids.
I do.
So
a lot of them too.
One of the great things about Zelda for you is you can play that around your kids.
Absolutely.
It's not like Grand Theft Auto. It's not like Horizon Zero Dawn's rated M. And although we don't know what it completely entails, but that might not be a game you want to play in front of your son.
Absolutely. And you got to be careful because one of the things I always point out is Watch Dogs. It was rated M. Nothing super inappropriate until just one scene in the game where I was like, wow. Wow, that is super inappropriate. So Nintendo, you never kind of worry about that. It's always, the game's gonna be fun and friendly. But I agree with you. When I get the Switch, I'm giving my son my Wii U, and I have no problem giving him every game I got with it because they're all friendly. You know what I mean? Except for Bayonetta 2. I don't know what I'm doing with that.
Put it in your top dresser drawer.
Just something I'm not proud of, boy. Because I refuse to trade it in because it was such a great game. But there's no way I'm letting him play that.
Yeah. But that's one of the things Nintendo always has had going for it. And that's when parents come into stores and they want to buy something for their kids. It's hard sometimes for a parent to be like, yeah, I want to get them a PlayStation, but they're not allowed to play rated M games. And it's hard to show them games they can play because most stuff are M on PlayStation and Xbox.
Absolutely. They're adult-oriented systems.
Nintendo is that safe haven for children. Granted, kids don't want to play those games usually. Some kids do. Your kid loves Nintendo.
Absolutely.
And Sonic and Sega.
But
there are also kids that are the same age as your son that are like, I want to play Grand Theft Auto.
I want to play Halo. I want to shoot things in the face. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can see how it's also hard for Nintendo because Nintendo's like, we want to stay with families, but we need to pull the adults in.
And to be honest, and I know we always go back to this, I feel like GameCube was the best for kid-friendly and adult games all in the same system.
Nintendo was the GameCube was probably the last console Nintendo had where they got decent third-party support.
Absolutely. Killer 7, do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Stupid good.
But,
to answer your question, Danny, it is really hard for me to answer that question because I'll admit it, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I love Nintendo.
I don't think the Zelda would be something where we would be as impressed with or looking at if it didn't have the Zelda.
Oh, absolutely. If this was a different IP, new character, we would be tearing this apart. Nintendo, what is this? You know what I mean?
I completely agree. But given what Zelda has always been and seeing the huge as though they're not huge leaps forward for that genre, they're still big leaps forward for Zelda. And this might be one step, and then next year we'll see, not next year, but the next Zelda is when we're going to be like, oh man, this is what they were leading to.
Absolutely. And you know what I really like about Nintendo and their Zelda is not two Zeldas really play similar. Even if they're released on the same engine, Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, two different games. Extremely different games.
If you look at Nintendo in general, even outside of Zelda, they are probably the one company that adds the most. They always reiterate on their titles. They're never the same. There's always something new. You look at even the old Mario Brothers. You go from 1 to 2. They added you being able to hold shells, to throw items. And then you look at 3. They added the flight mechanic with the raccoon tail. So Nintendo is, as much as people say, oh, it's the same thing. And don't get me wrong, I fall into that category sometimes. Where when I think of Mario, I'm like, I'm really getting tired of saving Peach from Bowser. I'm tired of it. How does this girl get taken by the same guy over and over again?
Just with you saying that, I pictured Mario doing the Taken speech. I don't know who you are or what you want. If it's coins you want, I promise you I don't.
I want to know how she got taken by a goddamn monkey.
True.
But, it's just... And I can see how someone who's not a Nintendo fan can look at their titles and be like, they don't do anything different. The bad guy in Zelda's always been Ganon. It's still Ganon.
Yep.
I can understand that point of view, but I also get what Nintendo does. They add to their titles. They're not always the same. Majora's Mask was vastly different from Ocarina of Time, even though they ran on the same engine.
Wind Waker and Four Swords all used Toon Link, but they were two extremely different games.
Yeah, and then, when you had Twilight Princess, the mechanic of being able to turn into a wolf, and then all that going on. And then you had Skyward Sword.
With the mechanic of pissing you off, because the controls were wonky.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it was still a pretty good game, and that is the worst in the Zelda franchise.
I can agree with that. A Link Between Worlds. Being able to become paper up against the wall. And it's a world we've already been in. It's the exact map from A Link to the Past.
That was a great game for Nintendo.
But,
But thank you for your question, Danny. Very much appreciate it. I hope we answered everything accordingly. Obviously, my answer was better than, Mr. Billy over here. So, you are welcome, sir.
You just don't like your feelings being hurt when someone attacks your things you love.
This is true.
But I think that's it for episode 11.
I would say that's a wrap, man.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So this is episode 11 of Enthusiast. Please make sure if you like the episode, hit that like button. If you don't, hit that thumbs down. Give us something. Anything's fine. Even comments. You know, those are great. You guys gave a lot of comments on our Resident Evil one, and we really appreciated them. So we'd really like to see those keep coming. You can check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook, and Twitter. And, you know, we'll have another episode next week for you. This is Will Zabo.
And Justin Azario.
Signing out.